In a major threat to India's border defense, China has deployed multiple J-20 stealth fighters across air bases in Xinjiang and Tibet. This brings China's premier fifth-generation combat aircraft close to India's northern frontier. J-20 has done more border visits than some politicians visiting their constituencies. But is India ready to face the J-20 threat, and are J-20s even stealthy? Let's quickly get you the details. Commercial satellite imagery from early July 2026 shows that China has deployed at least 11 Chengdu J-20 at Hotan and Damsung air bases, marking one of the most visible concentrations of its fifth-generation fighters near India. 7 J-20 fighters were deployed at Hotan Air Base in Xinjiang, about 245 kilometers from India's Daulat Beg Oldie airfield and approximately 389 kilometers northeast of Leh. 4 more are spotted at Damsung Air Base in Tibet, around 344 kilometers from Tawang in Arunachal Pradesh, extending the deployment from Ladakh to Arunachal Pradesh across the India-Tibet frontier. Separate imagery captured by satellite from Vantor from the same window puts the number slightly higher at about 12 J-20s across Hotan and Damsung, 8 at Hotan and 4 at Damsung near Tawang in Arunachal, though the numbers could actually be higher. Is this meant as mind games against the Indian Air Force? This deployment comes days after the 2026 power rankings again placed Indian Air Force as the third most powerful in the world today, much ahead of China and Pakistan. While the threat on India-China border cannot be underestimated, both the countries are in public making significant efforts to improve diplomatic relations. Indian Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri is currently on official visit to Beijing, China. He met Chinese Vice Foreign Minister Hua Chunying in Beijing, where both sides reviewed bilateral ties, trade cooperation and reaffirmed peace along the India-China border. This comes after Wang Yi's visit to India for the 16th meeting of the BRICS National Security Advisors meeting, when he also visited Prime Minister Modi. India and China have had major trust issues since the 2020 Galwan Valley clashes, but now steps are being taken to mend those ties once more, which includes restarting the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra or Hindu pilgrimage to Tibet and restarting cross-border trade. In fact, Chinese President Xi Jinping himself is now expected to visit New Delhi in September this year to attend the 18th BRICS Summit hosted by Prime Minister Modi at Bharat Mandapam. Earlier in March 2026, imagery of Shigatse Air Base in Tibet, under 100 miles from Sikkim border, confirmed 14 J-20s were present there. J-20s armed with PL-15 missiles are capable of reaching Indian territory, with 6 jets under tarpaulins and 8 were seen parked in the open. India, however, has already decoded and reverse engineered the Chinese origin PL-15 missiles, which failed to strike Indian fighter jets and were found nearly intact inside territory after being fired by Pakistani Air Force. China first deployed the J-20 stealth fighters near the LAC during the 2020 border standoff, operating from Hotan Air Base in Xinjiang alongside strategic bombers and other combat aircraft. The Royal United Services Institute projects the PLA could field 1,000 J-20s as soon as 2030. J-20 production is expected to have reached around 120 jets annually by late 2025. Our news report on India-Pakistan tensions was ranking among the top 5 in Google News videos. I am Shobhit Mittal. Do subscribe to Inconnect News for the most informative news content. But the Chinese J-20 has one huge drawback. It is not combat proven or combat tested, even compared to Indian Air Force's Rafale or the Sukhoi 30 MKI. In fact, questions remain whether the J-20 is stealthy at all. Back in 2018, the Indian Air Force's Sukhoi 30 MKIs on a sortie in the northeast reportedly tracked Chinese J-20s operating over Tibet. Earlier, former Indian Air Force Chief, Air Chief Marshal Birender Singh Dhanoa had stated, Sukhoi 30 radar is good enough and can pick it from many kilometers away. Beyond the Sukhoi 30 MKI radar claim, India approved developing an indigenous long-range dual-band infrared search and track system for the Su-30s, plus procurement of at least 100 such IRST units specially to help detect and track stealth aircraft like the J-20s optically rather than by radar alone. India has also begun talks to buy 114 Rafale fighter jets from France. These will be the newer F4 variant with an F5 upgrade option, while India's own 5th generation AMCA stealth jet is expected to enter service around 2035. AMCA partner tender was held this month on the 1st, with officials from all 3 shortlisted bidders in attendance, including Tata Advanced Systems Limited, the Larsen & Toubro Bharat Electronics Limited Consortium, and the Bharat Forge Data Patterns BEML Consortium. The first AMCA prototype is expected by 2028 with first flight by 2029. The meeting marked a key procedural milestone ahead of submission of final bids. But what do you believe? Are the Chinese J-20s stealthy? And do they pose any real threat to the Indian Air Force? Leave a comment, hit the like button and subscribe to Inconnect News.